Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray on this beautiful Friday morning. Everybody's getting ready for the weekend, so am I. Anyway, we got some stories that the Trump administration, President Trump, has come out. He has signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, and I'm all for it. I'm here for it. If you've been watching me, you know I don't like this program. Department of Education has been a failed experiment. I've said it 100 times. There's no reason why we can't go to something else. Since its inception in 1979, and then it was actually put into place in 1980, it's been a failed experiment. It hasn't improved as far as children's learning. Children are actually testing lower ever since its inception, and I'm okay with it going away. We got a lot of people coming out against this. I don't know why. There's not a single argument that I have heard against this that makes any sense. There's not a single. I'm all for dismantling this program, sending it back to the states where it needs to be. It was before the inception of the Department of Education, it was a point six of Americans were illiterate, and since its inception, that number has drastically increased up to, I want to say it was 21%. Don't quote me on that one, but it's drastically increased. It's a failed program, and it can go away. There's no reason not to try something else at this point. Send it back to the states and put into place school choice, school vouchers, whatever you want to call it. There's not a single, this is another thing, there's not a single argument I've ever heard against school choice that makes any sense. None. There's a lot of people talking about this. We're going to get into it. Linda McMahon made a statement about it. We'll watch the signing. Trump had some students around him when he was doing the signing, which was pretty cool. I thought it was, as far as a photo op goes, I thought it was a good one, but that's just my opinion. Uh, Bill Burr, he's making the rounds. Everybody's talking about him. We'll glaze over him just real briefly, and him inciting violence. And some people have been arrested and could be facing up to 20 years in prison, facing terrorist charges over the Tesla attacks, and rightfully so. And we got Chuck Schumer coming out saying that, saying some Chuck Schumer stuff, pretty much threatening Republican voters. But we'll get into that too. But excuse me. The main thing that we're going to talk about is the Department of Education, because this is the big news with President Trump signing the executive order to dismantle this program. And again, I'm all for it. There's no reason for this program to stay in place. I'm for it going away. There's, again, failed experiment. It can go away. Put it in the trash bin. There's no reason to keep it around. Anyway, here we got President Trump. Again, like I said, he had some students surrounding him while he was doing this. As far as a photo op goes, I thought it was all right. I'm okay with it. But dismantling the Department of Education, again, I'm all for it. Now, this executive order does not completely dissolve the Department of Education. This executive order, it puts into place the dismantling of the program to start making steps, taking steps to just get rid of this program. It still takes Congress to fully dissolve this department. I understand that. I know it just can't go away. Congress has to vote on it. Will it get through? I don't think so. I don't think it might get through the House. But as far as the Senate goes, I don't think, because it has to have a vote of 60 for it to bypass the filibuster. In that case, I don't see that happening. I don't see them getting seven, because there's 53 Republicans in the Senate. I don't see them getting the other votes that they need on the Democratic side in order to completely dissolve this program. And again, that's fine. You know, this executive order starts to dismantle the Department of Education, take it down to like a skeleton crew, minimize the bloat and all the money that's getting funneled through this program. You know, I'm okay with it going down to just a skeleton crew. Like I said, even if it doesn't get passed through Congress to completely get rid of the program itself, I'm okay with it just being a skeleton crew, minimize the waste and the bloat and the wasteful spending that goes through this program. I'm okay with that. So we'll take a look at this. This is President Trump and signing the executive order, and we'll take a look real quick.
Let's use that same pen. Okay.
I think it's kind of cool that they had kids around signing their own deal. I thought that was pretty cool. As far as the photo op goes, I thought that was pretty cool. Again, I'm all for this. There's no reason not to dissolve this wasteful spending on this program. It's been a failure. You know, it hasn't improved the public school systems. It's only gotten worse. So, and you can tell me all day long that you can say, "Oh, well, they're not getting enough funding." Well, we've been throwing money at this program for years now, for decades, and it hasn't gotten any better. The It's just the progress of students just keeps declining. So, yeah, getting rid of this, I'm all for it. Anyway, Linda McMahon, she came out, the Secretary of the Department of Education. Take a look at what she said. This is her talking about the executive order. Ooh, wrong one. Let me get the right one here. There we go. And take a look at what she says here.
Well, if you think about the fact that the Department of Education was actually set up in 1980, and we've spent $1 trillion since then to educate students in our country,
$3 trillion.
and we've seen scores continually decline. We're clearly not doing something right. And so
Obviously.
what President Trump wants to do is to take the bureaucracy out of education.
Yes.
He believes, as do I, that the best education is closest to the student, that parents, that teachers, that school administrators in the local areas know what's best. There is no one-size-fits-all for education.
No.
And what I hope the Education Department will be able to do as we are paring down and preparing to turn over all control to the states is that we can provide them with tools to help them. We can provide them with research. We can give them information on best practices that is working in many states already to get those scores up for reading and math. Well, if you think about...
Okay, I agree. Look, it's been a failed experiment, as I've said. There's no reason not to send it back to the states, enact school choice, and that's what President Trump wants to do. School choice incentivizes schools to be better, and you can talk about arguments. I haven't heard one good argument against school choice that makes any sense. You can let me know if you got a talking point, and I'll debate you about it. But there's not a single thing that I've heard about school choice that would make me change my mind on it. Especially the fact that, look, why not try something else? Obviously, the Department of Education has been a failure, and there's no reason why we shouldn't try something else. Why not? Tell me why not. It's an honest question. People are going to come out. People have been coming out saying, "Well, what about the special needs kids?" Okay, that's been transferred. That stuff's been a different department of the government is handling that. School lunches. That's actually been, free school lunches for children who need it. It's actually already under the Department of Agriculture. The Treasury is going to be taking over a lot of the funding that needs to be taking place, like grants and whatnot. That's going to go to the Treasury. And I forget which department that the special needs children, the programs that they need. That's going to go to a different department as well. I forget which one, but you can look at it. Look it up. I mean, just a quick Google search. Let me see. Well, actually, let me see if I can find it. Let's see. To which department? Let's see. Well, it's showing me Florida. State, individual, Florida. It's just showing me Florida for some reason. I don't know. You can look it up. I forget what program it actually goes to within the federal government, but it's not going away. So the talking point that these people have about, special needs and school lunches and, grants, it's still going to be taken care of by the government. It's just going to different agencies, and there's no valid talking point that these people have. It's not going away. So anything that these people say about, oh, what about the children that need the help? They're still going to get it. He's not making any drastic changes that's going to cut off, like, drastically, funding or aid to special kids, or, free lunches. All that stuff's still going to be taken care of. Look, we'll take a look at this. This is from the White House, okay? This is the whitehouse.gov. And this just covers a lot of, what is happening with this executive order. Returning education to parents and communities. That's the whole basis of it, okay? They want to send this back to the states. It'll be just like Linda just said. This is going to go, it's going to put the education of the children closer to home, in the hands of the parents, which it should be. That's a big proponent of why I'm such a fan of school choice. It lets the parents decide which school is best for them and their children, whether it be a private school, a private religious school, a public school. It gives the option of to those parents to let their children go to the schools that they think is best for them and their kids. I don't see a problem with that. Anyway, today, President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order returning power over education to families instead of bureaucracies. 100% agree. The executive order directs the Secretary of Education to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return education authority to the states, while continuing to ensure the effective and uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. Again, he's not taking programs away. He's not taking the help that children need, that, with the special needs children. He's not taking the needs away from kids who need free school lunches. He's not taking that away either. It's just they're being diverted to different programs, or they're already in a different program. Like the school lunches is already part of HHS. So he's not taking these programs away. And if you hear somebody tell you that, they're either misinformed or they're lying. That's all there is to it. The order also directs the programs or activities recently receiving any remaining Department of Education funds will not advance DEI or gender ideology. This is a big one for me. I don't like, especially in K through 12. I don't want kindergarten kids learning about gender ideology. There's no reason to teach a kindergartner that. And you can tell me all day long till you're blue in the face that your 6-year-old who's a little boy wants to be a little girl. They don't even know what they want for lunch, let alone what gender they want to be. It's stupid, and it's ironic. And people that, in my opinion, who think that their children are trans, they just want attention and they want to be part of the cool club. And it's child abuse. That's my opinion. Anyway, let's keep going with this. Returning education. Let's see, dismantling bureaucracy and empowering families. Federal government control of education has failed students, parents, and teachers. Yes, it has. 100% agree with this. This is something I have been waiting on this since the inauguration. I was hoping this is something he would have done day one, but he's been doing a lot. He's got a full plate. He's got a lot going on. I'm glad it finally got done. I'm glad this is happening. I'm here for this ride. The Department of Education has been something that I have been strongly against forever. I'm not a fan of it. Anybody that knows me knows this, but I digress. Since its relatively recent inception, I don't think that's recent, but 79, the Department of Education, which does not directly educate students, has spent over $3 trillion. Just think about that for just a quick second. $3 trillion. Now, I know it's not all at once. It's since its inception in 79, $3 trillion of American taxpayer dollars. Just let that soak in for just a second. That is a crap ton of money going to a program that has netted negative results for 45 years. Just let it sink in for just a second there. I'm okay with it going away. Anyway, without improving student achievements as measured by standardized national assessment of education process scores, federal taxpayers spent around $200 billion in additional education funding during COVID-19, which, given the substantial learning loss that resulted, testifies the effectiveness of the current federal-driven model. That's another thing. These programs were still getting funded during COVID-19. Teachers didn't want to go back to work. The head of the teachers union, forget her name because she's not that important to me. She was the one that, now she's recently come out and said that we wanted to go back to school in July. That was a lie. Because after July, she was still pushing to keep teachers home and students home. So she's just lying. And there's video evidence all over the internet of her back in 20 when COVID was happening, of her still pushing to keep children home and not letting teachers go to work. So she's just outright lying. Anyway, I digress again. Let's see. Mathematics and reading scores are down in public schools, despite per pupil spending has increased by more than 245% since the 1970s, indicating that the more spending does not mean better education. I've said this 100 times. You cannot just, this is the Democrats' base model to improve something. You just throw more money at it. You throw more money at it. That does not improve. It doesn't motivate people to be better. You know what does? And it's, I mean, you can argue that it's kind of the same thing. But when you take money away from these schools, they want that money. And when you take the money away from them and you give a voucher to a student's parent and say, here you go. It's your choice on where you want your kid to go to school. You choose what's best for you and your family. That school, they're going to be looking at schools. They're going to look into schools. They're going to research some schools. They're going to make an informed decision. Maybe not all of them, but for the most part, people want to have a good education for their children. They're going to look into these things. And if the school's not doing good, they're going to have the option of sending their children somewhere else. Again, it incentivizes schools to be better. They want that money. They need that money to fund their schools, keep the teachers in a job, what have you. They need that money to keep operating that school. So they're going to strive to be better because the more students they get, the more vouchers they'll get, the more money they get. It incentivizes schools to be better. Anyway, let's see. Mathematics and reading scores are down. Yeah, I just read that part. 13-year-olds. Mathematics scores are the lowest they have been in decades. 13-year-olds reading scores are the lowest since testing began over 30 years ago. Low-performing students are falling further behind. In 23, 13 Baltimore, Maryland high schools had 0 students who tested proficient in mathematics. 0. 13 schools who had no students, none, who tested proficiently in math. That's, again, the program has obviously been a failure. Why not try something else? Why not? Anyway, the Department of Education burdens schools with regulations and paperwork. This is something I didn't know before I read this. Its Dear Colleague letters have forced schools to redirect resources towards complying with ideological initiatives, which divert staff time and attention away from schools' primary role of teaching. Biden's Department of Education added rules that impose nearly 3.9 billion in costs and 4,239,530 paperwork hours. That's insane. That's a lot of paperwork hours. Ugh. Taxpayers will no longer be burdened with tens of billions of dollars wasted on progressive social experiments and obsolete programs. This is something I'm on board with 100% again too. This is something else that the Department of Education, just another reason for it to go away. Under the Biden administration, the Department of Education wasted more than 1 billion in grants focused on entrenching radical ideologies in education. Again, just like the trans crap and teaching kids don't need to know that K through 12 there's no reason for this crap to be in the school. And the fact that you've got schools who are actively not letting the parents know that their child identifies as trans, when the studies have shown that, most of these kids actually just grow out of that. You know what? Because look, here's the thing. There used to be such thing called a tomboy or just a sissy boy. Girls were more, you know, they played sports, what have you. They didn't like playing with dolls, whatever. That was called a tomboy. Boys that played with dolls, you know, whatever. Doesn't mean that they're not a boy and they're not a girl. Just means they just have different tastes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, Biden's Department of Education rewrote Title IX rules to expand the definition of sex discrimination to include gender identity, which is wrong. The Trump administration recently canceled 226 million in grants under the Comprehensive Centers program that forced radical agendas into states and systems, including race-based discrimination and gender identity ideology. Good. Let's see. Fulfilling promises to parents and students. President Trump has outlined a bold vision for America's schools and returning education back to the states. During his campaign, President Trump said, "I will close the Department of Education and move education back to the states where it belongs." Yes, good. This is what I want. Again, I'll say it just one more time. It's a failed experiment. The Department of Education has failed the American students. Send it back to the states. Let the parents have a say in their kids' education. This does not need to be run by the federal government. It doesn't. While speaking on parents' rights in education, President Trump spoke of dramatic rethinking of schools. "I want every parent in America to be empowered to send their child to public, private, charter, or faith-based schools of their choice." Again, this is what I want. I am all for school choice, school vouchers, whatever you want to call it. Again, I have not seen or heard not one legitimate, good argument against school choice. I haven't. You can let me know if you think differently, and I'll let you know my opinion on it. But I haven't heard anything legitimately, you know, knocking down this idea. I think it's a fantastic idea, and again, why not try something else? We've tried the Department of Education for the last 45 years. We can try something else. It's obviously failed. Since returning to office, President Trump has already signed an executive order to expand educational freedom and opportunity for families, recognizing our government-assigned education system has failed millions of parents, students, and teachers. Yes, it has. Anyway, the left, they're coming out hard against this. They're not happy about this. A lot of them are saying, "Oh well." Again, I've said it early, just a little bit earlier. They're saying, "What about the special needs children? They're still going to be taken care of." Anybody who tells you that is lying to you, or they're just misinformed. What about kids who need free lunches? Still going to be there. He's not taking that away. What about grants? Still there. Move to a different program. It's part of the Treasury now. All these talking points that they're going to come out with this with, attacking this, they're all lies. And they know it, and they're still pushing the falsehood. I mean, that's just what they do. There's nothing that's going to be taken away as far as programs that need to be in place. He's not taking that away. He's just minimizing the bloat and trying to get rid of the wasteful spending. That's it. That's what he's doing. Anyway, Adam Carolla, he came out and he said, he put this on X. Let's see. So we got, this is why we can't defund the DOE. Look, I've seen a lot of posts like this. I'm just putting this one up here just as an example that all these people that are coming out and saying, this is why we can't let this program go by the wayside. They're just making the point as to why it should go away. And it's hilarious to me. I saw one last night. Oh, that said, we've got low testing scores. Kids aren't proficient at math. 50 something percent of kids can't read at their grade level. And now we want to get rid of the DOE. We can't do it because we need to help these children. Well, that's exactly why this program's going away, because it's been a failure. These people coming out and putting all this stuff up on the internet, they're just making the point for us that the program has been a failure and there's no reason why we shouldn't get rid of it. They're just making the point for us. And they're just kind of hanging themselves. I think it's hilarious, but this is why we can't defund the DOE. Look, you've got, let's see, where was the one that I saw? Look at this. 52,000. This is school spending per student, okay? You've got 21,000, 17,000. It's kind of, I can't tell if that's a 32,000 or a 52,000. It's a really small screen that I'm looking at. But it's still, even if it's just 32,000 per student, that's insane. These is Illinois schools. And look at on the far right here, number of students who are reading proficiently. All zeros. All the way down there. 30 schools in Illinois. You've got nobody. None of these students are proficient at reading. None. Again, like I said, they just keep making the point for us that this program is wasteful. It's not doing what it was intended to do, and there's no reason not to get rid of it. Again, something I'm passionate about. I don't want my kids being indoctrinated by federal programs, and I would like the option to choose what school they go to. If there's a school in my area that's better than the public school that they're zoned to, I would like the option to send them to the better school. And again, if the school that they're actually zoned into wants that funding from my kids going to the school, then do better. Again, it incentivizes schools to be better. I'm all for it. Anyway, excuse me. We'll go ahead and move on from that. I think I've made my piece pretty clear on that. But anyway, we'll talk about, just real quick, Bill Burr. This guy is crazy to me how a lot of these, like Jimmy Kimmel is a prime example. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe it was one of those other late night talk show hosts slash not comedians, but they were all for Teslas and EVs and everything else. One of them actually came out and said that, they were talking about the gas prices being so high when Biden was in office. And he said, well, I'm okay with gas being $15 a gallon because I drive a Tesla. But now they hate Tesla because it's owned by Elon Musk and he's backing the president. Make it make sense to me. I'm just saying, these these leftists with their talking points, and it's not like they said these things when the internet wasn't a thing, and we've got video evidence of them saying these things, but they're gonna flip flop on everything. So it's insane to me. But anyway, Bill Burr was on The View, and this is one of the guys. He's been making the rounds, encouraging, like, he's on different podcasts and different internet personality shows and everything else. He's what, he yelled "Free Luigi" like a couple different times, and now he's saying that it's okay to enact acts of terrorism and violence against Tesla owners and Tesla showrooms and dealerships. the fact that these people, there should be some kind of accountability. This is just my opinion. I don't know, but there should be some kind of accountability for these people who come out and are actively calling for acts of violence against personal citizens within within the U.S. and people who are just trying to go to work at a dealership, and they're getting attacked. You know, showrooms are getting shot up. There's Molotov cocktails being thrown into cars. It's insane. There needs to be accountability across the board, whether you're inciting it, or you're saying that you should go do it, or if you're actually committing the crime. Anyway, take a look at this. This is like, again, this is Bill Burr, like I said, and he was on The View. I don't think he was getting a lot of blowback, and I think personally his agent probably told him, "Look, we need to go on The View. It'll be okay because these cackling hens, they agree with what you've been saying, so it's not like you're gonna get any blowback from them. So just go on The View, try to save any kind of grace that you might still have."
I don't know. It's a weird time, but I just feel like someone needs to bring the boiling water down to a simmer, and everybody on both sides. Like if you watch CNN, Fox, you go online, or you listen to politicians, it's all and then you walk out on the street, and someone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" You're like, "Good." So I don't.
Now keep in mind, he says we need to bring the boiling down to a simmer. This is the same guy who screamed "Free Luigi" a couple times, and who's been advocating, saying that, you know, he's okay with Tesla dealerships being burnt down to the ground, and, you know, personal vehicles getting Molotov cocktailed and everything else. This is the same guy. Now he's coming out and saying that we need to, you know, bring the boiling water down to a simmer. Nobody believes this guy. I don't. No, that these cackling hens on The View will, because that's.
I don't think they're living in like a reality.
But is there anybody getting your ire up these days more than usual?
Nerds.
Yeah.
The nerds that own the politician. All these tech nerds that want to build robots because they don't know how to talk to hot women.
Yeah.
They're gonna take over the world. They're gonna take over. They are literally gonna replace us. We're like beta right now, and they're coming out with like the VCR.
That's all I'm going to show that. Look, I'm just going to say, Bill Burr, he's got some funny stuff. I mean, I think he's funny. He can be funny, but all this stuff that he's been doing lately, it's not funny. He's just pandering to the left. He doesn't want to be ostracized. I don't know. He's in with that Hollywood crowd, and he wants to stay in it. So he's making the rounds, you know, doing the usual talking points of the left. That's what me thinks. You know, the guy can be funny. I've seen a lot of stuff of his that I've laughed at. I thought was hilarious. This stuff that he's doing now, pandering to the left and wanting to stay in Hollywood, making the talking points, it's not funny. Calling out the nerds, that's not funny to me. I mean, the hens on there, they cackled, but whatever. I mean, anyway. I mean, take a look at this. This is what he has been advocating for. These people, now they have been arrested. These people are facing up to 20 years in prison, okay, for firebombing Teslas. Separate Molotov cocktail attacks on Tesla properties, each facing up to 20 years in prison. There's their name. Good. This is, look, the firebomb, you can say what you want about it, but the firebombings on these Tesla dealerships, on personal Tesla vehicles, it's terrorism. And I don't even care about saying that word and YouTube throwing me off. I don't care. This is domestic terrorism to its T, to the very definition of terrorism. They're instilling fear into people for having Teslas, and then, you know, people are wanting to trade in their Teslas, get rid of it. Nobody's buying Teslas because they're instilling fear, because they don't want to be retaliated against for owning a Tesla, just for owning a vehicle, by the way, which the left pushed for a long time. President Biden put in the EV mandates saying that he didn't want to have gas vehicles on the roads by what, 2035, 36, whatever it was. This is a left pushed agenda to have no emission cars by the mid 2030s. And now they're being firebombed for owning an EV that was pushed by the Democrats. It's domestic terrorism to its very definition. I'll say it one more time. This from the Post Millennial. We'll take a look at this. This is about this is an article about the very same thing. DOJ charges 3 in connection with domestic terrorism attacks targeting Tesla. Again, this is domestic terrorism. There's a thing going on where they're going to come out apparently on the 29th. And they're going to be protesting. They say protesting. Okay. But these are not protests. These are calls to violence against people just owning an EV. In dealerships, people just going to work trying to make a living to provide for their family. Anyway, it's insane. The Department of Justice has announced that it is filing charges against 3 suspects for domestic terrorism attacks targeting Tesla. The charges come after there have been a slew of violent attacks targeting the company amid left-wing backlash against Elon Musk for working with the Trump administration. According to the press release, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, "The days of committing crimes without consequences have ended. Let this be a warning. If you join this wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties, the Department of Justice will put you behind bars." Good. Now, I've been very critical of Pam Bondi, and I believe rightfully so, because how many appearances has she had on Fox at this point? Since she's been appointed to the Attorney General, what has she done? Other than come out on Fox and talk. I'll wait. What has she done? I haven't seen anything. She's talked a lot. She's talked a big game. You know, she talked up the Epstein list, and then we got the photo op with the content creators, which I don't blame them. Not entirely, anyway. I'll wait. Nothing. She's done nothing other than talk on Fox News. I don't think that I'm starting to very my opinion on her. I was hopeful with her. I was like, okay, when they ousted Matt Gaetz, and I was like, okay, maybe she'll do good. She had a good record. The only thing I didn't like about her was her second 2A stance. I didn't like that about her. I'll be honest with you. I think that she has done a terrible job to this point. Now she's got time. She can change my mind. If she actually starts doing things instead of just talking on Fox News, then I can change my mind about her. But I haven't seen that yet. So we'll see. Anyway. According to the press release, yeah, just read that part. Anyway, let's see. DOJ has charged 3 Tesla attack suspects, and is investigating a website that claims to be doxing Tesla owners' personal information. Now, I talked about this the other day. That website, now apparently it is down at this point. But there was the website that was up that was actively calling for people to go and attack personal vehicles. It listed Tesla owners' addresses, names, what have you. That was scary, especially for people who they would park their Teslas in the garage, they would cover them, they would do anything they could so that people wouldn't see that they had an EV in their driveway and then get their house attacked. People with families, children sleeping in their beds, and these people have them doxed, their addresses online, telling people to go and actively commit acts of violence against these people just for the simple fact of owning a Tesla that was pushed by the Democrats. It's insane. People, I saw bumper stickers on Tesla vehicles saying, "I bought this before Elon went crazy." Crap like that. Saying, "Don't attack me. I'm on your side." I didn't. Some of these people, that's their daily driver. They needed to get to work. These people have lost their minds. Anyway, One defendant that was arrested after throwing approximately 8 Molotov cocktails at a Tesla dealership located in Salem, Oregon. This is insane, okay? The release said another was arrested in Loveland, Colorado after attempting to light Teslas on fire with Molotov cocktails. It adds later saying a third defendant wrote profane messages against President Trump around Tesla charging stations before lighting the charging stations on fire with Molotov cocktails. Where is everybody getting these things? Anyway, I guess they're pretty easy to make. I've never made a Molotov cocktail, so I couldn't tell you. But I guess they must be pretty easy to just make. But anyway, according to Fox News, the suspect in Salem, Oregon, is who was arrested and charged after allegedly shooting up a Tesla dealership in Salem, as well as throwing Molotov cocktails that struck a dealership building in several vehicles. In the case of Charleston, South Carolina, the defendant, Daniel Clark, was arrested and charged in connection to setting fire to Tesla charging stations. He reportedly ended up lighting himself on fire as well. Well, I guess. Clark Pounder was granted bond on Monday while in federal court, according to ABC4 News. Clark Pounder allegedly spray painted F. Trump and Long Live Ukraine in a charging Tesla spot at the scene. These people, I think they're just mindless drones. They can't think for themselves. That's my opinion. Anyway, trans-identified male suspect Lucy Grace Nelson, who was born Justin Thomas Nelson, was arrested earlier this year after allegedly attempting to torch a Tesla with a Molotov cocktail in Loveland, Colorado. Nelson was also found with other incendiary weapons. These people they've lost their minds. Let's see. Backlash against Musk and his work with the Department of Government Efficiency has grown in recent weeks, generally as DOGE staffers have been auditing a number of federal agencies looking to cut waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer funds in the federal government. This is another thing. Who's not okay with cutting wasteful spending of your taxpayer dollars? That's my money. That's your money. That's my money. That's being wastefully spended on all kinds of crap. We've all seen the reports of where this money's going to thus far, what they've exposed. Why would you not be okay with that? Because the mainstream media comes out and claims that, Elon Musk is Nazi and he's Hitler. It's the same rhetoric that they pulled against President Trump time and time again. Now they've just shifted it from Trump to Elon Musk. Because you're mindless drones that can't think for yourself and you believe everything that the mainstream media tells you, even though they've been pushing this propaganda since the beginning of time. That's all the mainstream media does. Fox, you're not excluded. A lot of people like Fox. People on the right say, oh, Fox is different. No, it's not. The only difference between Fox and these other CNN, MSNBC, CBS, whatever have you, the only difference between that is that Fox actually does have debates and people on opposing sides talking about things. That's the only difference. Yeah, they've got some right-wing pundits on there. Okay. Fox is still part of the mainstream media, and they push a lot of the left garbage. Anyway, on Wednesday evening, FBI Director Dan Bongino, Deputy Director, FBI Dan Bongino, announced that the law enforcement agency was actively working on the Tesla incidents as well as swatting incidents that have been targeting conservative media figures in recent weeks. That's another thing. The swattings, that's attempted murder. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Swatting is attempted murder. The intention behind a swatting is to have police officers show up at your home, your place of business, guns drawn, because they don't know the exact situation that they're going to end up in. They got guns drawn, and you come out holding a phone in your hand. They could shoot you. It's attempted murder. And these people that are doing the swattings, the accountability, something I've stressed over and over and over again, accountability. Until there's accountability, this crap is going to keep going. You hold people responsible, consequences have actions. Once you start holding people responsible, it'll probably chill out a little bit. I'm not saying it'll completely go away, But people will probably think twice before doing this kind of crap. Maybe. I hope. Anyway, the same day Bondi declared that the attacks against Tesla would be seen as domestic terrorism, and promised severe consequences for anyone involved in the violent attacks. The DOJ is also reportedly investigating a website that claims to be doxing the personal information of Tesla owners. And as I said, that website is down now. Don't know if it was because of the, don't know if it was because of the FBI or Pam Bondi or Cash or Dan. I'm not sure. But the website has been taken down. It's not there anymore. So that's good. That's a good thing. But like I said, it's just crazy. These people, like I said, they need to be held accountable, or else this stuff is going to keep. It's just going to keep happening. So that being said, we've got one more thing I just wanted to cover real quick. It's Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's coming out, and to me, now this is just, it seems pretty cut and clear to me that he's outright threatening people who have voted Republican. Now, you can tell me what you think about this, but to me, this seems pretty cut and clear that he's outright just threatening. He said that there's going to be consequences. What consequences may that be? For voting for Republicans? There's going to be consequences for that now? Don't vote for the Republicans, or there's going to be consequences. You mean like getting what we voted for, or are you talking about something else there, Chucky? Anyway, like I said, you can tell me what you think. This seems pretty cut and clear to me. Take a look.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day, and I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. We are.
Look, I'm just gonna play it one more time. I know the volume's a little low. It's as loud as I can get it, but I'm just gonna play it one more time.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences.
Forcing them to change their vote or face the consequences. This is a threat. It's a veiled threat, maybe. What are you talking about, Chucky? This is crazy. You're gonna force, he said it, force people to change their vote or face consequences. What consequences? You're going to go after people because of how they vote and how they think politically. This is not right. This is not okay. This is a violation of everything that the U.S. stands for.
This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day, and I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep.
This kind of rhetoric is indicative of what these people actually stand for. This is him saying the quiet part out loud. They cannot stand President Trump. Why? Because he's taking a blowtorch to the system, and he's exposing fraud in every single department that Doge goes into. They cannot stand it. Their cash cow is running dry, and they don't want these government programs to go away. Why? Because it funnels all kinds of money. Taxpayer dollars. There's all kinds of, evidence of these organizations getting money funneled right back to the Democrats. They are scared to death of the outcomes and what's going to be discovered in these programs. And they hate Donald Trump. They cannot stand him, and the fact that the American people voted him in pisses them off. This is them actively saying, he straight up said that they were going to force people force Republicans to change their vote or face the consequences. You tell me. You tell me what you think he's meant by this. I just told you what I think. What are the consequences, Chucky? What do you expect to do to people who if you're going to go to door and you're going to tell people, look, you need to change your vote or there's going to be consequences. What? Go screw yourself, guy. I can vote however I want to. That's the glorious freedom that I have in America. I can vote however I want to. This is not a dictatorship. Anyway, that's insane to me. Old Chuck, somebody needs to look at that guy because maybe look, I've seen Chucky and Adam Schiff. There was a thing going around saying who's the leader of the Democratic Party. The one that the poll or whatever it was that got taken it had AOC at the top at 10%. The Democrat Party is in shambles. They don't have a clear leader. In my opinion, if they did have one, I think it would be Chucky. That's what I think, but I'm probably wrong. But the Democrat Party's in shambles. They don't have a clear leader. Everybody knows. There was Tim Walz was in an interview, and he was specifically asked this question: who is the leader of the Democrat Party? He said the American voters. No, that doesn't work there. That doesn't work there, Timmy. Everybody knows who the leader of the Republican Party is. It's the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. After him, I don't know. Will it be J.D. Vance? I don't know. Probably. J.D., I'd like to see J.D. in the presidency. That's just my opinion. I might change it. But as far as it goes right now, I think he's a rock star. He's young. He's up and coming. He's the vice president. I'd like to see him run for president, next time. I'd vote for him. At this point, I would anyway. But hey, that's all I got for now. If you made it this far through my ramblings, I really, really appreciate it. You can follow me here on Rumble. You can subscribe to me on YouTube if you want to, but go to Rumble. Rumble's where it's at. They got the lineup from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to 5 o'clock in the evening. They got a whole lineup. You got Crowder, you got Tim Pool, you got Jeremy on the quartering. Go to Rumble. Get the Rumble app. Download it. Rumble's taking over. YouTube's dead. Anyway, you can also follow me on X at ThePoliticalRay. Again, I appreciate you hanging out. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. God bless and take care of yourselves.